What's up, y'all? Hey. Happy Saturday afternoon. Listen, we are not going to be here long, but I thought I would come through so we could just talk a little bit about what's going on over in those Real Housewives of Miami streets. So listen. What's up, The Informed? Hey, Majani. Hey, Quake. What's going on? What's going on, you guys? So listen, if you watch the Real Housewives of Miami, you know that this season has been full of a whole lot of microaggressions, a whole lot of, well, I don't even know what the word is because I don't want to cuss. But y'all know what has been going on over there. Well, one of the storylines has been Alexia and her on-again, off-again husband, Todd. Now, as of today, they are officially divorced. They were officially divorced in March of 2025. However, they continue to see each other until about 2 months ago when Alexia went on Watch What Happens Live at the beginning of the season. She said that she was still seeing Todd, but in a more recent interview, she said that she is not speaking to him, that she has gone no contact, and that it has been the best thing for her. Now, Todd spoke to that in his video. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Y'all might not be happy with me by the time we get to the end of this video. But oh well, I love y'all anyway. We're going to listen to what Todd had to say, right? And I don't even think this is the whole video because it was like a 10-minute long video. However, you're going to get the gist of what he had to say in this video. So let me share my screen. I got it off of TikTok. So I will share the screen. And this is a reaction video, which means that we are going to stop and we are going to react. So I don't want nobody talking about why she talking. I just want to hear what he has to say. Then go over to TikTok and Google or put in the search bar, Real House of Miami Todd. It'll come right up because that's how I found this video. So, but we are here to talk about it. Sierra, I agree with you. He dropped some tea, honey, and we're going to talk about it. All right, let me share my screen. Hold on. Let me make this full screen. Because I don't want to look at Brandy Glanville's burnt face over there in the comment chat. Okay. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let me go back to the beginning of the video. Let me turn the sound on.
Become a reality star. That was never for me.
Hold on, let me go back to the beginning.
Never enjoyed filming. The biggest mistake I've made in my adult life was agreeing to participate.
Y'all hear it? Do I need to turn it up?
No, I was not one who really wanted to give up my privacy and become a reality star. That was never for me. And I certainly never enjoyed filming. And I'm sure that's obvious to anyone who ever watched the show. But the final straw, the breaking point came when lies started being told. And Adriana went on TV and started making claims that I was struggling, that couldn't pay my rent, and I was having financial problems. And it was a real blow to me. And I couldn't believe people would make these kind of lies up. I was very mad at her for lying on TV, and she knew it was a lie. And I was mad at Alexia for getting me involved in this mess. But I was the most mad at the producers who knew the story wasn't true. And they didn't just run it. They ran it and reran it and reran it with no regard for me or my feelings or the truth. And in fact, I was the one telling them after the story came out, and I knew that they filmed it, that I had just bought a $24 million shopping center. What was my financial problem? But they really didn't care. The show must go on. And they did. The show did go on.
So, first of all, for all the people that are like, well, Todd, you did the show. You know what it is. It's reality TV. You know what you signed up for. Contrary to popular belief, everybody does not watch reality TV. Contrary to popular belief, even if you watch reality TV, there are some people who still don't understand that everything you're watching is not reality. I'm going to let it play a little bit longer. So what Todd is saying is, look, I didn't want to do it, but the woman that I love was a part of this show, so I agreed to film, and I was cool until the lies. He said, I was cool until the lies. He said, I was upset with Adriana for saying it. I was upset with Alexia for letting it go. But I was more pissed off at production who knew it wasn't true. Let's keep going.
And it got to a breaking point where I couldn't take it anymore. And I had to make a very hard decision. I realized I couldn't live in this world anymore, and the woman I loved couldn't live without it. So I had to make a decision to leave. And it was a very tough decision, but it had to be made. I was well aware of the storyline they were creating for Series 7.
Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Todd. What up, Don Don? Hey, boo. Hey, powerful. I'm going to be honest, though, about this part. Todd, I feel like there was more to you leaving Alexia than just this show. I don't think you can blame this show for all of your marital issues, because I feel like you could have found a happy medium. We see all the time where house husbands, film in a very limited capacity. I understand that narrative was out there about you. The storyline was out there about you not having any money. But unfortunately, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Your only option at that point was to fight the storyline or ignore it and disengage. And we have seen husbands participate on various levels on this show, or in its franchise, I should say. Hell, Shamia's husband was reduced to a phone call and some FaceTimes. I think we only saw him in person one time, and that was at the birthday party at the beginning of the season. So I will say that Todd, I feel like it was more to you leaving Alexia. I think that this might have been a big part of it, but I also feel like it's more to it because y'all dated for 7 years. Although, you know what? Now that I'm talking out loud, though, the whole time this show was off air, her and Todd were dating. The minute the show comes back, her and Todd can't stay together. Shit, maybe it was the show, child. Maybe it was the show. Hold on.
About the reconciliation, and I agreed that I would go along with that. In return, I was under the impression I was getting some apologies from Adriana, and I was going to be let off the hook, so to speak, and not dragged like past husbands of these kinds of TV shows. So it seemed like a pretty fair deal to me, so I stayed quiet and let it air out.
So what he's saying is the storyline for season 7 with Alexia was supposed to be them reconciling, them going through this divorce or separation and them somehow reconciling. That was supposed to be the storyline. But he said he also was told he was going to get some apologies and acknowledgement that what Adriana said about him was a lie. Now, this is what he said, honey. This is what he said.
Now, not surprised at all that it didn't play out as I had expected. I see no apologies coming my way. Nobody acknowledging the slander and defamation of character they did to me. I see actually the story getting worse, and they're making up stories about how I moved out of the house and left Frankie alone, which none of this is true. It's just for the storyline. And I've stayed quiet. For 18 months, I sat back and stayed quiet out of respect and love to Alexia. But at some point, you're pushing too far. And this is the point. Now, I could understand Alexia bashing me. And I could understand her coworkers doing the same. Even the one I've never met once in my life who seems to be obsessed with me. That's all fine. And I'm not.
Child, he was talking about Stephanie right there. That one, that was at Stephanie. That was a dig at Stephanie.
Not surprised one bit that the producers are running this because they need a storyline to sell you guys a show. But what did surprise me is that they used Peter to come at me and bash me and say that I don't give a shit about Frankie. Well, now you hit a nerve and now you have my attention and you're going to start getting some responses. That's where you went too far. Now, there is no doubt.
Now, before he goes down this road, because he's really getting ready to break down all the things that he has done for Frankie throughout the 7 years that him and Alexia were together. And I'm going to let him break it down. But I will say this. Number one, yes, Bap, he's using the legal words, defamation and slander. He is using the legal words, okay? So I feel like he's ringing an alarm. He is ringing the alarm. But the second thing is, they aired that episode. That was like 2 episodes ago. Well, no, it wasn't 2 episodes ago. It was last week. But still, it took you a whole week to get mad. It took you a whole week to get mad. Okay, I'm gonna now he about to break down all that he's done for Frankie, child. Hold on.
Alexia is an amazing mother and does everything for Frankie she can. And so does his father, by the way, who never seems to get any credit. This guy works 5 days a week to support himself and spends almost every weekend out with Frankie, taking him out and taking care of him, being a great dad. And he deserves recognition.
He said, why y'all don't talk about how much Frankie dad does for him? Why y'all don't highlight the fact that Frankie dad is still a part of his life and still spends time with his son? Why y'all trying to act like Alexia does it all by herself? That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
However, beyond those 2 people, there's nobody on planet Earth that's done 1,000th of what I've done for Frankie in the last 7 years. In 7 years' time of living with Frankie, just about every morning we'd wake up together before everybody else and have a coffee and talk. Every afternoon I come home from work and I spend time with Frankie. I didn't just provide for Frankie financially by putting a roof over his head and putting food on his table and designer clothes on his back. I did do that, but I also did a lot more. And to say I didn't give a shit is ridiculous. Let's talk about it. Took him to the movies, took him to the beach, took him to the jacuzzi, took him to the pool, took him on cruises, took him on vacation for weekend getaways. 2, 3, 4 nights a week, Alexi and I would take him to dinner. We would go out on the weekends and we'd take him with us. I would spend so much time with Frankie. I was very involved with getting Frankie trainers for his health. I was very involved with getting Frankie into the Demoya Foundation. I was involved in getting him all sorts of speech therapists and anything I could do to make this guy's life better. I was all for it. And that's why it really hurts that someone's going to come at me and say that I didn't give a shit about him, because I'm going to tell you, there's not a person on planet Earth who's done as much for him other than his parents as me.
Baby, Todd cleared the room. Todd done cleared the room. Frankie's dad is an ex-keeping. Okay, I don't know nothing about that PDF file part. I don't know nothing about that. But I do know he's an ex-drug dealer. I do know that. I don't know about that other one, O Street, because I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, for me, I didn't watch the first part of Real Housewives of Miami. I didn't watch the original. So I don't know nothing about. I do know the husband. I can Google it. Okay, I'll Google it. But I'm just saying I don't know nothing about that part. I'm not saying you not telling the truth. I'm just saying I didn't know anything about that. However, it still sounds like he's very much a part of his son's life. I don't know the other stuff. I'm going to have to look it up. I don't know nothing about it. But Todd is like, listen, that man is very much a part of his son's life. But outside of his mama and his daddy, let me let y'all know what I done for this young man, okay? He said, every morning we get up and we talk. Took him on vacations. Fed him. Took him out. Spent time with him. Okay? He wasn't just... He said, so it hurt him when that was part of the storyline that he just left Frankie and just left him sitting on the couch while he moved out of the apartment. He was like, it did not happen that way. That was a part of her storyline that it didn't happen. He said it did not happen, okay? He didn't like the fact that they tried to use it as a storyline against him. He said, right, he said designer clothes. Informed. It gets deeper. It gets deeper.
And that's how I love Frankie. And you know what? Because I love Frankie, I'm going to speak up, because Frankie would want me to, because he knows this isn't true. Now, I really have no problem with Peter. In fact, after Alexa and I split up, I reached out to Peter and I told him how bad I felt, how things went between us and the pressures that he and I had to deal with. And I told him how bad I felt that I was never able to help him launch a career and get started with a job and get his life on track. And I felt bad for all the pressure the guy had. And I made it very clear, that's my failure more than his. And I told him I would always be there for him, regardless of whether he wanted my help and regardless of my position with his mom.
You see how he slicked through that in there? You see how he slicked through that in there? That Peter is unemployed and don't have no job, don't have no career path. See how he slicked through that in there? I understand, O Street, baby. I understand. To be fair, Alexia raised her sons on her own long before she knew about Todd. Those are close to 30-year-old kids, so he's taking credit. It's not really here for me. It's not really here. It's not really here to me. Oh, fair. Well, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Peter is her other son. I will say this: if y'all noticed when they were filming, and I understand that Frankie has some issues, some delays and stuff. But if y'all notice when they were filming, every time Alexia started complaining about Todd and what Todd did, y'all notice how Frankie didn't want to talk about it. Y'all notice how Frankie was like, stop. Frankie did not want to participate in those conversations. Y'all, I'll go back and watch those scenes. There's been 2 scenes. The very first one, and I think in episode 1, where Frankie, she was talking about it. I think they went out to the restaurant or something, and she was talking to maybe Stephanie, I'm not sure. But then when it was Peter, when Peter came over to the house, and they were talking about it. And Frankie was like, stop. He don't want to talk about it. And again, I know that it could be a lot of reasons why Frankie was doing that, but it just makes, listening to Todd, it makes me wonder that maybe that's why Frankie was like, stop. Like, I don't stop, you know? But let me let y'all finish hearing it.
And I always stand by that, and I will always stand by that. But today I feel bad for Peter because the producers used him again. You see, they convinced him to go and tell the story for their ratings, and he knows better than anyone when they got something on you, they put it up against you. Except what Peter probably doesn't know, and why he probably had to do this, is because thanks to me, I'm the one who convinced Alexia to negotiate a deal for Peter and Frankie to get paid. That's why they get paid. And that's why I probably believe Peter had to do it, for the paycheck. So
prior to Todd coming around, those kids didn't get paid. And again, I know on Housewives, a lot of the kids and stuff don't get paid. So let me put that a different way. So because of Todd, according to Todd, those kids are now, and they're not kids, they're men. But because of Todd, they're now getting a paycheck. I'm sure it's a small paycheck, but they're getting a paycheck nonetheless. They weren't getting a paycheck before. Now, we know that anything can be negotiated if you have the right leverage, because we know that the husbands on Real Housewives of New Jersey is the only franchise that get where the husbands get paid. So anything can be negotiated if you have the right amount of leverage. So let's keep talking.
I kind of understand that I'm not mad at him all. And my offer to always be there for him will always stand. Peter shouldn't be calling me out on TV. Peter should be thanking those that are helping take care of Frankie, like me. That's the truth. Even after the divorce, I continued to support Alexia and Frankie, paid the rent. She used my Amex to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars a month. That's what I did. And in fact, the house they live in, where you live as well, Peter, I pay the rent on that house. Even after the show came out and I was so hurt and I couldn't believe this was going to happen to me again, and I saw the first episode, I still continued to pay these bills. That's who I am, and that's what I did. And it doesn't seem fair that you're going to come for me now. You should be thanking me instead.
Baby, Todd said, and I'm still taking care of y'all. And I'm still taking care of y'all. I'm paying the bill. Well, he said as recently as the show coming out. The show came out last month. We only on episode 5. They got divorced in March. He was still paying her bills into June. She still was spending his Amex card, paying the rent. Frankie lived with them now. Frankie back living with Alexia. This is just another version of how he did that creepy video apologizing to Anthony, Dr. Nicole's boyfriend, after he made an ass himself on TV. This is about his image to the public, not his love for Alexia. For what I hear from my friends in Miami, we're older than Peter by a few years, but they're saying he's another version of his father, and that's all I'll say. I don't know nothing about Peter's father, so I don't know what that means. He won't leave Frankie homeless. And I really think that has a lot to do with it too, that he wants to make sure that Frankie's good. Because I don't know nothing about Alexia other than what I've seen on the reboot. So I don't know. I mean, I know she has the nail salon or whatever, but that nail salon doesn't afford her the lifestyle that she was living. Sorry, not sorry. I feel like this, and I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, O Street, that this isn't necessarily about Alexia, because I don't. At this point, I do think it's about his image. I do think it's about him letting people know that he didn't like being portrayed, in the way that he was on the show. I know I 100% agree that this isn't about his love for Alexia. Nothing in this video makes me feel like this is about. I think him being quiet all this time was about his love for Alexia. But anyway, let me keep playing it, y'all.
With all that said, I still feel bad for him because the producers got the best of him, and he knows it, and I know it, and there's no hard feelings there. But you did change the storyline for me. Now I have to speak up. You see, there's been hundreds of podcasters and news media articles that wanted to write stories, and they wanted my side of the story, and I stayed quiet. But I can't sit back and let you create this narrative that I just didn't give a shit about Frankie. Not only do I love Frankie, I love myself too, and I'm not going to let you and the producers do this to me. So no hard feelings, but I'm going to have to start talking as well. And even as I sit here today, I'm still.
So in other words, anybody that want to interview with Todd, he giving interviews. Todd is ready to talk. Anybody that want to get what his email address, anybody that want to talk, Todd is ready to tell it.
Heartbroken about the fact that Alexia never told me this was going to happen to me and that she allowed this to happen. And worse yet, she and I actually did reconcile in January of this year after the show filmed, and we were together and doing great for months. And she never said a word about anything coming my way. And since then, I've never heard an I'm sorry, never got a text, nothing. It's just too bad, so sad. And
now I will say this, Todd, again, because I think there's more to the story about why you and Alexia divorced, why you left her, even though, like I said, I feel like it's more to that story. I will say, how would Alexia notice what happened? She filmed the season. What you mean, Candace? She filmed the season. She said it. Like, what do you mean? How did she notice what's going to happen? She said it. Now she can't control, but what I'm saying is she said it, y'all. She said on camera he left Frankie in the house alone. She said on camera that he never cared about Frankie. She said on camera that he just used her and he was like, she said those things. She know what's going. Listen, Alexia been doing this a long time. Now there were times when she tried to pull back. There were times that she tried to pull back, but y'all know what production is going to do. Production is going to run with what's controversial. Production is not going to run with, oh, he's a really great guy. We're just trying to figure things out. Oh, he took me out last weekend. We had a great time. Child, they're not going to film. They're not going to show that. They're going to show her saying, he left Frankie I left to go to work. We had a great weekend together. I got up to go get some breakfast and he moved out of the apartment while I was gone and left Frankie by himself. She knew what they was going to show. But even if she said it in the heat of passion, his thing is, you ain't even tell me this was coming. He said they reconciled after she filmed the season. So if they were dating, if they got back together in January, the season was done. They were finished filming, which means she knows everything that was said, at least what was said around her. Now, she doesn't know what people said in their confessionals. She doesn't know what people said when they weren't around her. But hell, she know what she said out of her mouth. Let him keep talking, honey.
While I'm never going to try and win over any viewers because I truthfully don't care about that, I do want to tell my side of the story, and I am going to go out there and do it so the viewers know I didn't leave Frankie home alone, and it wasn't this crazy situation where he was so distraught on the couch, and I'm not this horrible person they make me out to be, but at the end of the day, I have to stand up for myself. And what we'll do is I'll tell my side of the story, and Bravo could tell their side of the story, and you, the viewers, will get to judge what you believe and what you don't believe. Like I said, I'm not trying to win anybody over, but I am trying to tell the side of the story. You'll get to be the judge and jury. Now, for the producers, there's a totally different story I have for you guys. These producers, they like to sit in their editing rooms and production rooms and hide behind the cameras, and they'll drag anybody. And all you got to do is look at the past husbands and boyfriends of this show. They have no regard for anyone, as if we don't have families, friends, lives, careers. It just doesn't matter as long as they're making a show. And they hide in private, and they could care less about the truth. They just want to make a show. And if you confront them, they say, you got a bad edit, I'm sorry. Well, that's not going to cut it anymore, because these producers know the secrets are coming out, that you have people on these shows hiring private investigators to dig up dirt on other castmates to ruin.
Now, then we hear Marisol, then we hear Dr. Nicole accused somebody of doing that, which was Marisol, of getting a private detective to dig up dirt on her. Mm-hmm.
They're hiring PR companies and social media bot accounts to hurt people with no regard for them.
Didn't we hear that bot accusation on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Mm-hmm.
Whatsoever. These people have script writers to give them, witty one-liners so they seem so good and they could turn the direction of themselves.
Now, we know they do that. All of them used to do that. Phaedra, Nene, we know that. We know they do them, get people to write digs for them and write. We know that, child.
and make themselves look fantastic. And you know about this. And you guys hide in the private room and you don't get exposed. Well, that's going to change because all these things you've been doing to the cast, how are you going to like it if I expose you? How are you going to like it if these things are done to you and I draw you out into the public? How is it going to feel when you're getting questioned by the public on the way you behave? Let's see. But the difference is for you guys, and the difference is for people like Adriana, who slandered my name and who made up all these lies and thought it was fun and clever, and the producers who thought they could edit it and rerun it and rerun it and rerun it and keep showing it and keep talking about it and there'd be no consequences. And for the producers who really didn't even have a right to have me on TV for season 6, you're going to have a different crowd that I want to perform for, so to speak. You're going to have a courtroom to perform in, and you're not going to have to convince the public. You're going to have to convince a real judge and a real jury if you had the right to use me on TV and lie about me on TV when you knew it was a lie. Let's see where we go with this, because for all the people you've dragged with no regard for them whatsoever, past and present people on the show, I'm the guy with the reputation. I'm the guy with the resume in life. And I know you've been digging up as much dirt as you can. Doesn't seem like you found so much, but I'm also the guy with the resources to take you guys down. So you found this game very clever. You wanted to get the ratings and you wanted to get your season launched. So good for you, you did. Except now I'm going to speak up and I'm going to take your asses to court and we'll find out if you had a legal right to do it. And you know what? You said it. You replayed it. Now you better prove it. And if you can't prove it, you're going to pay me. And I think I'm going to take all that money I'm going to win, and I'm going to win a lot of money. And when I do, I'm going to give it to groups that work with people that are bullied, cyberbullied, bullied in person, attacked online by people like you who hide in these rooms and destroy lives, destroy families. You're not good people. And just face it, I sit here and say that. For the viewers, you could question me, but over the, 15 years of the show, you call it a guilty pleasure to watch it, but would you ever participate in it? Would a sane person ever expose their lives? For what? To go to BravoCon and have people tell you they love you? Bullshit. You wouldn't do it either. And the past performance of the show, look at where these families have wound up in. Tons of divorces, people in jail, miserable lives. I mean, it's just created no happiness and no joy for Earth other than a guilty pleasure. So you could enjoy watching it. But for the participants, I think you got to get your heads checked. And for the producers who produce it and hide in the rooms, I'm coming for you.
All right, so listen. This is what I'm going to say. And I'll drop the link if anybody wants to come up real quick. What time is it? I'll drop the link if anybody wants to come up for a few, just real quick and give your opinion. As of right now, as of close of business yesterday, I didn't see where a lawsuit had actually been filed. I do believe that Todd is smart enough that he has talked to, oh shit, I forgot. How do I paste? What is it? Control P or Command P? How do I paste, y'all? Or is it V? Command V? How do I paste? There it is, Command V. I'm getting it, y'all. I'm getting it. I'm sure that Todd has talked to somebody. Like, I'm sure he's smart enough. Thank y'all. I'm sure he's smart enough to have spoken to somebody, an attorney. A couple of things that he said that made my ears perk up as the resident non-attorney in the room. He kept saying, you knew, which makes me feel like he went to production and he has record and evidence that he went to production. I feel like he has record of him going to production saying, these aren't true. I don't have any financial issues. I haven't been dealing with any financial strife. Here is the proof that I'm financially solvent. So here's the thing, and I know what some of y'all are going to say, and it's okay. Like, everybody has their opinion. But there are certain things that when you are a legitimate business person, you could be fucking up people's business deals. When you say, oh, well, he's broke. He doesn't have any money. I heard that he doesn't. If you're literally in the middle of a business deal. And I know people say, well, who cares about what's said on the Real Housewives? But the point is, if he can show that show in any way impacted a business deal after he notified production that information was not true, I'm not saying he has a good case. I'm not even saying he's gonna win any money, but I can see where an attorney would say to him, you might have something here. Y'all see what I'm saying? Reality TV shows, your skeletons, everybody searching and exposing, so don't show up living a lie. True. The law offices of Hood and Ghetto was great night class. Yes, honey, we had some great classes over there. And let me say this. I feel like him bringing up issues that have happened or other franchises, I also don't think that's an accident. It's blurry. I also don't think that's an accident. Like, I think that video was very calculated. I think that what he said in that video was very calculated. I do not think that anything that was said in that video was by accident. I think, I know he did another video before where he did this long ass apology to Dr. Nicole's husband, and boyfriend, and it was awkward, right? But this wasn't that. This video was very clear, even though it was 10 minutes, but he had a lot to say. Now, he also posted some stuff, and I'm going to read y'all what he said. Excuse me. Let me see. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on. Let me read y'all what was said. So this is some stuff that Todd also said. Child, work with me because, Lord, it's cut off a little bit. So Todd wrote, to the Real Housewives of Miami producers, I tried to say silent. I truly did. I tried. It's cut off, so I'm trying to read what I feel like it's saying. Something about stepping back. I was trying to take the high road to Alexia and let you tell your story, even when it was wildly untrue and deeply manipulated. But enough is enough. Something about bullying and behind the scenes extortion. Behind the scenes extortion. The producers have gone too far. Something about I allowed you to paint a fictional version of me because I loved my wife and didn't want to get something in your circus. I thought staying quiet would protect my peace, but you've crossed the line. Naming names, twisting the truth. Suggest what you want about my character. The second you dare portray me as someone who didn't care about my stepson, a young man living with a brain injury, you revealed who you really are. I think it says this season is obvious your entire storyline revolves around attacking me and one woman, a cancer survivor. Don't tell me Todd is the one that's going to defend Gertie, honey. But they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend, honey. Okay, it says, you've allowed gang-style pile-ons, physical violence, gaslighting, microaggressions, and racially charged comments to go unchecked. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. You've allowed gang-style pile-ons, physical violence, gaslighting, microaggressions, and racially charged comments to go unchecked. You've enabled cruelty, encouraged hate, and turned mean girl spiritness into entertainment. Baby, hold on. Let me read this one more time. Don, drop. Do me a favor. Drop your pre-order link in the chat for me, please. Baby, this man. I'm gonna say it one more time. I gotta read. I'm gonna read it this time without stopping. Hold on. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna just read it straight through. You've allowed gang-style pile-ons, physical violence, gaslighting, microaggressions, and racially charged comments to go unchecked. You've enabled cruelty, encouraged hate, and turned mean-spiritedness into entertainment. This is what you promote. This is your brand. And if this is what you proudly do for a living, I hope your families are proud. I'm sorry, y'all. I really did try to stop. I really did try not to stop. Okay, hold on. This is what, okay, I'm sorry. But here's the truth you can't edit out. Real Housewives of Miami has the lowest ratings of any Housewives franchise ever. One of the lowest performing on all of Bravo. I now understand that if I don't stand up for myself, you'll never stop. You'll keep running with these lies for as long as you have a platform. While I hope that this would fade and I could quietly return to my private life, it's clear I have to end this story myself. So let me be clear. I will not challenge these lies. I guarantee, wait a minute, I will not, hold on. I will not, oh, sorry, y'all, I was cut off. I will not only challenge these lies, I guarantee I will silence them once and for all. Listen. Yeah, this is Todd. Now listen. I am 100% understand the people who feel like it's bullshit. I got you. I'm with you. Because let me tell you something, Todd, you didn't have no problem with the microaggressions and the pile on and the bullying the first 2 seasons. Now it's a problem. I'm going to be honest, Todd. Now, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, Todd. You ain't had no problem with it when she called Julia a Russian prostitute. Now, I'm going to say this, though. I'm glad that you are speaking up for Gertie because Lord knows ain't nobody else on that damn show doing it. So I'm glad that you are speaking up for Gertie. I'm going to tell you, listen, he may not come when you want him, okay? But he always right on time. So I'm glad that you are speaking up for Gertie, even though it took you a long time to do it, okay? But I'm glad you are speaking up for Gertie. But, y'all, I'm being very honest when I say this, and please understand I mean this with all the sincerity in my heart. Baby, Todd is not playing with them. Again, that doesn't mean that I think he gonna win. Again, that doesn't mean that I think that he gonna sue and win. But it does sound very calculated. It does sound like he has talked to an attorney, y'all. This don't sound like Todd woke up yesterday mad. This sounds like Todd has been very calculated, that he has sat down, that he has done his research or paid somebody to do research. Because he referenced other franchises and other shows, talked about the bots. We know that was an accusation on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills a couple of seasons ago with Lisa Rinna and that other lady that only stayed on for 1 season. He referenced the Real Housewives of New Jersey. He referenced things that have happened on other franchises. That does not sound like he just decided to binge watch all of Housewives on Peacock. That sounds, thank you, Diana. That sounds like somebody who did some research or paid somebody to do some research. He's using buzzwords. He's using very specific buzzwords, y'all. Look, Tracy, we need to be on lookout. Tracy, or we on courtroom watch because it does sound like he's gonna file a lawsuit now. Why he would give us the video on the front end and ain't filed nothing yet, I don't know. But it does sound like he is. Now, maybe his attorney told him to do this as a first, like kind of like sending out a cease and desist kind of thing. Maybe the attorney said, because he's not asking for anything. Like I could see if he said, I'm asking for a full apology. Like he's not asking for anything. So I don't know. To be perfectly honest, I don't know. But it does sound like, you know, so that everybody will be looking for it. That's true, Kim. You so smart. Yeah. So people like me and Don and Tracy will be looking for it. Right. That's true. But the blogs would have picked it up. But you're right, though. You're right. But it's definitely doing what he wanted it to do. And I know that some people think that I might be full of ish. And I don't think that anybody tells 100% of the story. I think everybody, even if they're telling a more honest version of the story, I think everybody tells a self-serving version of a story. Even if you're being as honest as you can, that you're still telling it from your perspective. So it's going to be swayed in that direction, right? But I do believe a lot of what Todd is saying as it relates to the manipulated storylines. I absolutely believe that Alexia blindsided him. I believe it. I do. I believe that Todd knew that they were going to talk about the divorce. He's not stupid. He knows that they were going to have to talk about it. I believe that Todd thought that the story would be about them trying to reconcile and then working on their marriage. I do not think that Todd knew that she was saying he left Frankie alone. I do not think that Todd knew that she was, just putting it out there, especially if he was still paying her bills all this time. Because it sounded like he took care of her even after the divorce was found out. The divorce was found out in March, and they were still together in June. I mean, hello? So in the scene where we saw that she moved into this rental, Todd was paying for the damn rental. I mean, according to him, that's one side of the story. That is one side of the story. But according to him, he was paying for the rental. I agree with everything in that statement, but I think the lawyer wrote it. It's accurate, though. Yeah, I do. But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Oh, Street, I do. I absolutely believe that was a very. I would not be surprised if there was a prompt behind Todd and he was just reading from a prompt. Like if we go back and look at it, I'm wondering. Like, I mean, I'm not. It ain't that deep to me. I don't need to do that much research. I don't need to do that much research. Okay, but I'm wondering if we go and look behind what. I feel like Todd was reading from a script. I do not think he was talking off the top of his head. I think it was very clear what he was going to say. I think he knew exactly the words he was going to use. Even in his statement, that language that he used, microaggressions, violent attacks. Yeah, none of this is an accident. Now, again, that does not mean he's going to actually file paperwork. And that does not mean that he's going to file paperwork. I don't know whether Todd going to file nothing or not. But it's very clear to me that he has spoken with he's definitely talked to his attorney. Do we think Alexia will respond? No. And the thing is, they've already filmed the reunion. Like if he had done this before the reunion, then we know she would have talked about it on the reunion. But they've already filmed the reunion. So I don't think Alexia is going to speak. Alexia doesn't do a lot of the social media stuff. She never has. At least, again, since the reboot. When it comes to going back and forth on Instagram and stuff like that, Alexia is not usually one of the people that does it. I'm not saying she never does, but she's not one of the usual suspects when we start talking about a lot of the, now she might. I mean, she may speak. She may. The TV fair, if your husband played in your face and made you look silly for the last 2 seasons, then yeah, you're going to get on camera and get a little get back. Yeah. But that's why I think it was more going on in their marriage. Like, I don't think all of this I don't feel like all of this falls at the feet of her being on a reality show. I just don't believe that. Do I think that played a part? I do. I don't think Todd was a good husband, and I think that's just what Bravo is depicting. All the other stuff I'm not going to argue because it's true. And that's the thing. Like I said, I do think that I still think it's more to that story. I told y'all last season, if y'all go back and y'all watch my reviews from last season, I told y'all last season when they mysteriously had to move and Todd didn't care where they was moving. I told y'all then, I said, oh, Todd don't plan to live there. When he had her out there looking for apartments and he didn't even want to see pictures and he didn't care what the apartment looked like and he didn't care about none of that. He only wanted to know how much it was going to cost. I told y'all then, I said, because Todd don't plan to live there. Todd is not moving with them. Todd is moving them. He's not moving with them. He's moving them. And I told y'all that last year. So when they filed for divorce, I said, I told y'all. So that's why I know that this is bigger than the show, right? Todd had absolutely no intention of living in that apartment when they moved. And the fact that he filed the paperwork as soon as the reunion was over so that they wouldn't talk about it on the reunion told me how calculated it was. Because literally, as soon as the reunion aired, you filed for divorce. I did, Yvette. We played the whole video. Exactly, O Street, because that last video, he was so all over the place. He's like, I ain't doing that again. Sorry, if my ex who you was working on getting back with put a video out like this, never after this. Oh, well, I'm sure that it's done. I mean, Alexia said they haven't even spoken. Todd said he hasn't talked to her, and she said she hasn't talked to him. So I'm sure it's done. Whatever I'm sure it's done. But that's just my opinion. Now I have two quick announcements, and then I'm gonna get out of here. I think I'm gonna go over Tree's house and hang out with her for a couple of hours, but I ain't gonna be there all night with her. I'm not gonna be there all night over Tree's house. She said after 6 o'clock. And let me tell y'all something. And I ain't gonna say nothing here that I wouldn't say to Tree's. Tree's friends don't be on time for shit. Now she say after 6 o'clock. I'm gonna get there if I leave the house in the next 15, 20 minutes, I'm gonna get to her house by about 6:30, 6:45. I bet you ain't nobody gonna be there but me. By the time I'm ready to leave, it's gonna be the time everybody gonna show up. That's okay. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna have me a little cocktail or two. We're gonna sit by the fire pit, maybe smoke a cigar, talk a little shit, and then I'm gonna get in my car and I'm coming home. Okay, I'm coming home. I'm not gonna be out all night fooling with trees. Okay, but anyway. I have two announcements to make before we get out of here. Announcement number one, as you guys can see up on the screen, Chef Don Don has dropped his product. He has launched a product line of infused premium infused olive oil. Please, you guys, click that link. He put it in the chat. Drop the link again if you still hear Don Don. New people have come in. If y'all want to grab that, listen. We want to support our people. These are not just content creators. These are not just YouTubers. These are Black people trying to do something, trying to build a business. You guys know that Don Don is a chef. If you have not seen him, go catch some of his cooking videos over on TikTok. And I think he put some on Patreon as well. Y'all know that things are driven by pre-orders. So we need to get as many pre-orders as we can in order to, hype it up, make this product, be a product that people want to go and buy. So please go check it out, you guys. Please consider ordering you. And if you don't cook, like I ain't no big cook, but you can give it to somebody that does. Okay. You can give it to somebody that does. Thank you, Tracy. There's the link. Also. Yeah. Lenny didn't care, but Lenny's a creep. Did you call it about that apartment? Oh, you did? Yeah, I told y'all he wasn't planning to live in that damn apartment. Anyway, the second announcement tomorrow on my main channel. If you are not subscribed to my main channel, I know some people over here don't even know I have another channel because y'all found me doing reviews. But on my main channel, just ReallyBTV. If you type in ReallyBTV, it'll pop right up. At 2:30 tomorrow, I will be doing an interview with comedian Earl Wyatt. His new album, his comedy album just dropped it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify. I'll have the link tomorrow. I'll have the link when we do the interview tomorrow. But if you have ever wanted to hear my origin story, for those of you who have never heard my origin story, But those of you who have never heard how Really Big TV started doing YouTube and podcasts and all of the things, if you want to hear the origin story, meet me on my channel tomorrow at 2:30. Some of you have heard me talk about I used to do radio before I started doing YouTube, and I did a radio show with two guys, and I was the girl, and it was on a local radio station here in DC. It was Spikefish Radio. Earl Wyatt is Spikefish. So if you've ever heard me talk about being on Spikefish Radio, Earl is Spikefish. So we're going to talk to him about his comedy career. We're going to talk to him about all of that. But you guys are definitely going to get the Really Big TV origin story. So if you've ever wanted to get that information, meet me tomorrow at 2:30 on my channel so y'all can and y'all can get it. And Earl, I'm sure, is gonna tell it raw and uncut. Okay. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna catch y'all tomorrow. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.